On this week's episode of Survivor, the second tribe member of the season is sent to the jury, and before we tell you who that was, we have to break down what happened. Okay, let me just start by saying, loved this episode, potentially one of my favorites of the whole season.
I would agree with that.
And it's because they finally brought back the Survivor auction, which is like, if you've been watching the show for any kind of amount of time, it's a Survivor classic, it really is. People that come on the show desire to make it to this point, desire to be able to compete in it, because lots of exciting things always happen. So here's the deal. So old Survivor auction, there used to be all kinds of twists and turns. So you would have, advantages. People could get different food options, maybe like a shower, maybe some peanut butter to kind of sustain you for a while. Lots of different options. This one was strictly food. Jeff made that very clear. That's how this one was going to work. There was no advantages at play or up for grabs. But the thing I love about the food stuff is it's not just luxury food either. Sometimes you get completely
gross food.
Yeah, and it's just not good. But what did you love? Because you have not seen a Survivor auction
this
before.
was my first auction. It was just super fun to see how it went, which I know in the past you actually had to, it was more of an actual auction, whereas this one had the twist where whoever had the most money left at the end lost their vote.
Yes.
So it was more like getting rid of your money instantly instead of an auction, but it was so fun.
Yeah.
Also just to see what food they brought out.
I know. For me, I think the best one, honestly, was either the beer one that Kendra got or the wine and cheese board that Emily got looked good. And it's not just because of the alcohol component. It's because like those just seemed like they had the most to them also.
Right.
So I was like, man, if I'm going to win something, I want it to be that.
Right. I mean, the pizza would have been really good too.
The pizza would have been good. It was a huge slice
it
too.
Was.
So that was exciting. Now from the auction, Bruce was the one left with the most money at the end. So Bruce loses his vote.
Which I was very happy about.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes, me too. We're very anti-Bruce on this team over here, so that's what we're wanting. All right, so then we move into the immunity challenge. The immunity challenge was exciting because you really had no idea what was going to happen. This is one that I always kind of call like one of the great equalizers because there's really no advantage to this type of game, I feel like.
Yeah.
So essentially they were holding out these ropes, which you'll see in a second. And it was kind of just like you moved down, there was different knots in the rope and you moved down the rope.
Well, and this was also the rice one too.
Yes, I'm so sorry, I forgot about that, yeah. So they've done this the last 2 seasons. Jeff basically is like, if a few of you sit out, we'll give you more rice because you probably need more.
This time.
Yeah.
And he punched a hole in the bag.
He poked a hole in the bag, yes, with a knife.
So long.
Because they were taking too long, which was a plot twist. So Bruce ends up winning immunity, which again, we're anti-Bruce. So that was not exciting to see. No. But here is the interesting thing, right? Is like, I don't care for Bruce, as I've stated, but it's interesting to see that this is a man who the last season went home, didn't even make it through the full first day and night, whatever. Yeah, because he got a concussion. And to see him come back and make it this far and then win an immunity challenge, I will say, I'll give credit where credit's due. I'm shocked he's made it this far. I do think he's playing a semi-impressive game at this point, given that he's still here. Because if it was me, I would have got him out already.
But do you think he knows he's on like everybody's bad side?
I think so. I think he knows that he's a lot because I think he feeds into like the character that he's trying to portray also. And it's interesting because I think it's obvious that he doesn't have that many allies.
Yeah.
And you may have lost one after this episode too, which we'll get to in a second. But so then we move into Tribal Council. And here's what's exciting about Tribal Council this time is, again, it's one of those ones where you don't really know what's going to happen. Leading up to the tribe leaving for Tribal Council, there's a lot of different names being thrown out.
Yeah.
You've got, who even was, they wanted to get Bruce, but they couldn't because he won.
Jake was thrown out.
Jake was thrown out,
Kelly
yes.
was thrown out. I feel like they were the main two.
And that might have been the main two. Kelly ends up going home. But what's crazy about this is the editing and the way people are talking about it, you really kind of think it might be Jake the whole time.
Yeah.
And what's funny is Jake also thinks it's Jake.
Yeah, and he made this really big, like, last-ditch effort speech, like, guys, listen, don't get me out.
Yeah.
No, I am not ready to go.
And for what it's worth, I just want to point out from a viewer perspective type thing, I am genuinely worried about like Jake's health and stamina on this show. He's had a few like pass out / teaser situations, and then on this Tribal Council where he's like defending himself, you could tell there was like random moments where it almost felt like he was like blacking out for a second. It was very strange. So like I really hope that he's taking care of himself out on that island because it's getting kind of scary, I feel like, from the viewer perspective.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Excited to see where the season goes. I think there's still a lot of, obviously, competition to be had. I still genuinely feel like there's not a front runner. I will say, though, so Charles and I, both of our winner picks are Austin. And Austin, you could argue, is playing one of the best games. And here's why.
I agree.
He still has not had a vote against him, I believe. He's never on anyone's radar, even when he's not winning immunity challenges, which is crazy. And also, he still has so many advantages, and he's well aligned. He's still got Drew and Dee and Mama J. They're all working together. Yeah. Emily, yes. And so it's like, I don't know. If they don't get him soon, they might put themselves in trouble by letting Austin go on.
On the trip they went on where they had the 3 advantages, now that Kelly's gone too, he has 2 full idols.
They got
now.
The amulets, and so now that's a full idol. Very interesting. Loving this season. Loving Austin. Hopefully Austin will win immunity tonight, but we'll see what happens. So as always, Survivor airing Wednesdays or tonight right here on CBS, or you can stream it on Paramount+. We'll be right back.